the drivers have to be. You cannot sit back. You have to be aggressive, but you can't be silly. You have to be smart. That's a very dangerous line to walk.
We'll see how aggressive the drivers are. Fans on their feet. 60 laps the first stage. 2 by 2 they come by the grandstands. Eric Almirola, Ryan Blaney. We're racing in Atlanta.
It's gonna be green, green, green. All of them.
Still side by side up front. Waiting to see somebody get pushed clear. A lot of good help from behind Jeff, pushing down into turn 3.
Up to speed now. Eric Almirola surges ahead. Joey Logano behind him, fighting for that second spot right now with Blaney.
You can see immediately a lot of drivers think the outside lane is going to be the place to go. They all jump to the outside, leaving only a few on the bottom. Interesting to see, Junior, how that works out as this run goes on.
Exactly what we saw last night in the Xfinity race. A lot of these guys must have been watching, paying attention to that outside line being the more dominant line.
Right in the middle of the racetrack, we see Almirola leading the pack now. Almirola, Logano, Blaney, Briscoe, Harrison Burton, the top 5.
You're wondering, these guys are probably filling their cars out, not trying to take any risks. You see them getting in order right now. As soon as they start to get more confidence in the grip in the car, they're going to start making moves.
2 by 2, you see Todd Gilliland in the 38 on the inside of William Byron in the 24. Those two are side by side, but in front of them it's single file.
And riding along right here, Kyle Busch and his Cheddar's onboard camera. You see what he's trying to do? He's trying to get right to the rear bumper of the car in front of him. Brad Keselowski wants to slide up in front of him to fill that outside lane, but Kyle Busch is not going to let him do it. You're going to have to pass me on the inside, buddy. Not going to get in front of me.
A little bit of movement out of Austin Cindric in the 2 with some momentum pulling away from Harvick in the 4. He seems to be dropping back on that inside line. Reddick in the 45 making a little more ground. We see Mark Truex Jr. going by. William Byron also. That inside line, not the place to be for Harvick right now.
Everybody lined up on the outside, and you do not want to let another car on your right rear quarter panel. That's exactly what's going to happen to you. Harvick trying to squeeze his way in front of that 38 car.
Forced his way in front of Gilliland. We'll see if
Get up there.
Gilliland keeps giving him that same space. He will. Looks like he might put the bumper to the back of him. Field lining up. Now as we see just a few cars ducking down to that low line, trying the lower line to see if it's the shorter distance, maybe a little quicker here in Atlanta.
Side by side down the back straightaway, the 54 and the 5. Larson on the outside. Here comes the 45 of Reddick. He's thinking about getting up there and helping the other Toyota, but then decides to get back in line. This will be a tough one for Gibbs.
Great look on the Toyota onboard. The 5 of Kyle Larson did just what Dale Jr. was talking about. He keeps working to the right rear quarter panel, hoping that the line will line up behind him. But at this point, you see the speed now on the bottom. The upper lane losing a little momentum.
Yeah, as a driver, you want to be looking in that mirror to decide which lane to block. You do not want to give them the bottom or the top right now. You have to prefer to go to the top. Do not let them get to your right rear quarter panel. If they want to pass you, make them go to the bottom.
10 has led all 4 races this year, all 4 drafting races that have been run. As we see the Toyotas trying to work together, there was some comments from the manufacturers saying, hey, we need to do our best to work together and help each other out. Now you see the 11 also joining in. Those Toyotas lining up, seeing if they can get some momentum built up on that inside line.
Here comes another Toyota, Rick. The 11 car, Denny Hamlin, we ride on board the Coca-Cola camera. The 45 drifting up the corner a little bit out of the gas.
In front of the grandstands once again, Almirola, Logano, Blaney, Briscoe, Harrison Burton still the top 5 leading the Ford Brigade, Marty.
riding on board the Coca-Cola on board with Denny Hamlin. There's the driver's shot as well. So the Toyota crew chiefs and drivers had a meeting today to kind of say, hey, let's work together as best we can. Dale Jr., we hear that all the time at Daytona and Talladega, and they're able to execute it, make the manufacturers work together. It's tougher here at Atlanta. Why is that?
The moves just happen so fast, and a lot of times another manufacturer might do something you're just not sure of, that you don't trust, that you know might be the wrong move. It's hard for you to commit to that knowing you're both going to lose. So just hard to know what everybody's game plan is because the moves here come so much faster.
Looking back on, Denny here, we're looking back on him, and you're listening to that throttle. Very rarely do they get out of full throttle, especially Eric Almirola. When he's up front, he's burning a lot more gas than anybody else leading this crew around, but everybody else is trying to draft and use that draft.
The 45 hanging tight though on the inside of Larson, Rick, and that 45 behind him, Tyler Reddick, getting out of the gas a little bit down there in 3 and 4. That car not handling so good on the bottom, but he continues to get runs underneath the 2, continuing to get help from Denny.
And you could see the effort. Toyota's on the bottom as part of the plan. I really believe that, the 45 would rather be up in line behind Cindric, but when they go down to the corner, he goes to the bottom, continually trying to push that black 19, or excuse me, the black 54 of Ty Gibbs.
And for the Toyotas to make this work, they're going to have to all clear. That's what's going to be difficult. If only one clears, and then they move up, then it's going to hang the other ones out. So you can see there's some spread between the cars, so there's somewhere to go. So if you can get just barely in front of the guy, then you just slide up in front of him and take that spot. One car at a time.
And again, there is an out of bounds here in Atlanta. That double white line down at the bottom and right next to the apron. You cannot go below that double yellow or double white line to improve your position. A very emotional start to the race here at Atlanta. Kevin Harvick, his final start here at Atlanta, where his first win came from.